All righty, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to jump right on in. We have about an hour of your time. I'm Mrs. Reynoso. I'm one of the counselors at West Ranch, and we have Mr. Crawford with us as well. And hopefully by the end of this webinar, we will be able to kind of answer all your questions that you may have about registering at West Ranch, and you'll be ready to go to start with us in the fall. We will have a Q&A at the very end, and so we hope we're able to answer most of your questions, but you will have an opportunity to ask questions towards the end. I ask that you hold on some of those questions until the end, just so we make sure we're not bogged down with some questions we may have already covered. All righty, on that, we are going to hand it right on over to Mr. Crawford.
Thank you, Mrs. Reynoso. Well, welcome, future Wildcats and families. So glad that you were able to join us. And again, normally we'd be doing this in our gym, our incredible West Ranch gym during 8th grade orientation. And I would be inviting you to come to our campus and go to all the different areas, from our foreign language food fair that they did every open house, to seeing all of our arts and crafts and art exploration up on the upper campus, to visit sports coaches who are all over the place, and to go see our teachers doing the wonderful things they do. But unfortunately, the coronavirus had other things to say, as we all know, as we're all in this together alone, as they say. So I'm coming to you. We wanted to do maybe not just a simple email out to you or something along that line. Of course, at West Ranch, we go the extra mile. So here we are doing a webcast for you, a webinar that hopefully will answer some of your questions and get you started on the road to becoming a Wildcat. So first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit about West Ranch. West Ranch is a place for everyone. It's an awesome place to be. And the big thing we always say is all can succeed as a Wildcat. And the other thing we say, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. So once you step foot on West Ranch, you become part of the West Ranch family. And that becomes your school and what you want to use it for, the success that you want for yourself. Students, I'm talking directly to you. Whatever it is that you want your life to be once you leave West Ranch, we want to help you succeed in that endeavor. And that's what we're all about here at West Ranch, is our student success. And to go with that, I wanted to show a couple of these bullet points here that are in front of you. Top scores in the district in CASP and AP testing. We're always above the national average and how our AP exam scores come out to be. And in CASP, again, we're one of the top schools in the state as far as finishing on the CASP exam, and of course, #1 in the district. And it's not, while academics is one of our main focuses, obviously we know that a well-rounded student makes the best kind of student. And so we have a plethora of things to do, and we're going to talk to you about getting involved. And one of those ways is in our performing arts. And as you'll see there, our band this year won the regional championship. They became #1, got the gold medal, almost like the band's version of a state competition. So state champs is what our band was this past year in their competition for halftime show. So they're incredible. They do a wonderful job. And then our dance team, our dance was grand champions at nationals, and this is 2 years in a row. And they have done an incredible job. Coach Johnson is an incredible coach. And so if you have a chance and you want to try out for the dance team, you need to take a look at that. Along with that, we'll talk more about it, but we have an incredible theater arts program, our choir program, and all kinds of different performing arts that you can get into, as well as the visual arts, which you'll hear about later. In our athletics program, we're up and coming in our athletics. We were listed as the Signals Program of the Year in 2018, and we were hoping to once again take that plateau until spring sports kind of, again with the coronavirus, went away. But our athletics are strong here at West Ranch. The Wildcat Athletic Program is only going to continue to get better and to reach heights even greater as long as you are a part of it. So we hope that you're trying to go out there for some Wildcat athletics, and you'll learn more about that on the Future Wildcats page once we get to that. So again, our athletics program, up and coming. We're doing a lot of great things. And other things we have, like CTE and CCR, those are career and technical education and career and college readiness. One of the parts of that is our robotics team. In 2019, competed in the national championship in Houston, Texas. They, again, are a well-established team that not only are part of West Ranch, but we actually invite other schools to take part with us. But West Ranch is the main driving force for that robotics team. And that's just another one of the many things you can get involved in. We'll talk about here at West Ranch. And something that came out just today, the U.S. News and World Report, just today, April 21st, came out with their latest ranking. And we were rated in the top 4.6% of high schools in the nation. We are one of the top 1,000 in the nation. And when you consider there are over 22,000 high schools in the country, to be in the top 1,000 and top 4.6% is quite an achievement. And we're very, very thrilled to be a part of that. And that only happens with great students, with incredible staff, and supportive parents like you that are there. And you know how you become one of the top 4.6% of the nation? You have to get involved. And that's the other thing we're going to talk about today, is getting involved at the ranch. You know, once you step foot on that campus, we don't want you to just be a student, which is an important part. An important part you'll play is in the classroom. But every study will show that the most successful students and the ones that get the most out of their high school education are those that get involved. And there are so many ways to get involved. One, we just talked about CTE, career pathways. We have an incredible video pathway with West Ranch TV. We have an up-and-coming engineering program that we just started 3 years ago, and now already has 3 levels, and we're graduating students that are going on into the top engineering schools in the country. We have photo, we have business pathways, a lot of different things you can go into, and we're looking to start up a health systems pathway as well. So there's a lot of great things to get you ready for whatever it is you want to do once you get to the university or to the workplace, whatever it is you want to do. Of course, our sports, we talked about that earlier, Wildcat Athletics. Now, summer camps, we are planning for them, but we are just planning for them at this stage with the issues of the coronavirus. We're not sure we're going to be able to actually execute those summer camp plans. However, we will be keeping information up to date and sending it out to you as soon as we have it for Wildcat Athletics. That'll come from our athletic director, our administrator over athletics, Mrs. Hensey, and obviously all of our coaches as well. So be on the lookout for that. But again, being a part of Wildcat Sports is one big way to get involved. Performing arts, talked about the band. Band camp comes up in the summer. Again, those are all to be determined. But getting involved in band, dance, our theater arts program, we have, we're one of the few schools that have not only the marching band and concert band, but we have an orchestra and we have a full jazz band. So many ways to get involved in Wildcat music, as well as the choir department. So a lot of things to do with performing arts to be a part of that. Also, if those don't fit your bill, it's okay. We have over 50 clubs on campus. And if there's not a club you want to be a part of, if you have a couple students involved and you find a teacher that wants to be the advisor, you too can start a club of your own at West Ranch. And right now we have over 50 clubs, and we have a club rush day in September where all the clubs are out on campus during lunch and brunch, and you see which one you want to sign up for, sign up and be a part of that club, which will meet all year long. And so all of those are ways that you get involved. And it's so important to do that because, again, it makes your high school career, your high school experience so much better when you're involved and invested at the school. And we really want you to be a part of everything West Ranch campus has to offer. A couple dates I want you to remind yourself of is our summer check-in date. So again, we're planning on being there for the beginning of fall in August for the school year of 2021. And we want, so for freshmen, you're going to have your check-in. This is where you're going to get your school ID. This is where you're going to get your final schedule. You're going to get your textbooks, all those different things. Summer check-in is going to be on August 5th. Now, the day before that, we have a program called Link Crew. And what Link Crew does is it links you, just as it sounds, with an upperclassman, a junior or a senior, or sometimes both, in small groups that allow you to maybe get to know the campus a little bit better and maybe ask them questions that your freshmen that you may not know about. Hey, how does brunch work? How does, where do you go for lunch on campus? You know, where are the bathrooms located? Very simple questions like that. Sometimes they feel embarrassed to ask one of us, but those Link Crew kids are there. They're trained over the summer. We have a great fun day in August. It'll be the day before summer check-in on August the 4th, and which will prepare them and get them ready to succeed in high school. So Remember all those ways to get involved, and those specific dates are very important to remember as you get ready to become a Wildcat. And the last things I wanted to say before I pass it on to Mrs. Reynoso and we talk about getting into those classes is a couple words first for parents. Parents, speaking of as a parent of a freshman who's now in college and of a freshman in high school, I can tell you that there's going to be times when your kid first gets into high school and they struggle a little bit, or they have a concern or issue. Parents, I'm going to tell you this, and it's going to go against maybe sometimes what you want to do, but please believe me, this is part of the growth of your student. Don't always rush in when your student experiences difficulties. Let your son or daughter find their way. Help them, give them advice, talk to them about the situations at home, but help them try to solve the problems on their own. I know in my case, it's meant all the world for my student is she's gone off to college thousands of miles away from us and been able to handle everything very well at the college. So I'm just going to give you that little bit of advice from me, is just to try to let go. And I know that's hard because there are little babies, and I understand that, but that's one of the most important things, is to allow your student to experience the bumps on the road on their own, and it allows them to be more resilient and achieve that grit. That word, I know that's one of those big buzzwords that everyone's using on TED Talks, but it allows them to achieve those things and get them those things on their own. And we always talk about parent involvement and what that looks like at the high school level. It's very different than before. We're not going to come out and ask for helpers in the classroom or things like that. But where your involvement is so key is in maybe a booster club or some way to help your son or daughter's sports team, or their theater arts program, or maybe even their club, if there's something you can provide for that. But the most important way for a parent to get involved is just be involved in the student's learning. Talk to them about, when they come home every night, about what it is that they're learning in class. Try to stay away from those questions about how was your day, because you're probably going to get the good, fine, typical answers that most high schoolers give. Try to get a little more probing questions. I know the question that actually I was given an advice on was to ask my student, who did you help today? And I know my daughters from time to time talk to me about those questions that I asked them, and that they still think about those to this very day. And it made them think about their day maybe a little bit differently. So, and when your student brings home their work, take a little time to look at it with them. Let them know that you're interested in the things that they're doing at school. You can follow them on Infinite Campus, but don't let that be the end-all, be-all, that GPA or that grade point average. Don't let that be everything about your students' learning. Really ask them about what they learned in a history class, and get in depth with it, about what they think about math and problem solving. Really get in deep into their psyche, if you will, that they know you are truly concerned about what they're learning, but not just because of a GPA, but actually how it affects them as a human being. And finally, for students, I want you to know that students, those of you that are out there watching, the jump from junior high to high school is a big one. And it's one, though, that please know that we are there to support you. You have a campus full of staff ready to help you out on every step that you take on this journey. And that goes from every teacher that you have in a classroom, to the administrators and counselors in the office, to even the campus supervisors that are around campus every day looking out for your safety. We all want you to do well and succeed at West Ranch High School. And to that end, over the last couple of years, we've really worked hard to start our own Wildcat Wellness Center, which started just last year. And I know at Rancho Pico, they just started one at the end of the year. But West Ranch, we're at the forefront, and we have our own social worker on campus every day in the Wildcat Wellness Center. Mrs. Phillips, she's incredible. And she's just one more stepping stone, one more link that you can use to help you through this high school journey. Believe me, you can do it. You can succeed. Every year, it's amazing to watch those students that come in as freshmen and see them and how they were at that freshman rally or at that link crew rally. And then to see them 4 years later, crossing the stage as confident young men and women going on to whatever it is they will in life. And again, that's what we want to do here. We want to help you succeed at West Ranch. It's a great place to be. I'm so proud to be the leader of the Wildcats, and I can't wait to have you, the class of 2024, on campus. So to talk to you a little bit more how that happens and the start of your journey in your 9th grade year, what classes you might take, and how to get enrolled in those classes, I'm going to give it back to Mrs. Reynoso.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. So as he said, we're going to talk to you a little bit about what classes you're going to take in 9th grade and how do you go about signing up with them. First and foremost, the counselors want you to know that we are going to miss seeing your little faces and having that opportunity to meet you face to face at the school. That is something we really enjoy, but we tried to put something together that we could still try to guarantee you have a strong say in what classes you're going to take and how to get that information to us. And so that's pretty much what I'm going to cover today. And so before we go over that, there's always a ton of questions as to what do I need to take in high school? What do I need to graduate? And what do I need for college admissions? And so overall, there's actually quite a bit of overlap. And so we put together this little grid for you. We also have all kinds of detailed information on our Future Wildcat page that Mr. Crawford mentioned. But the first category you will need to take classes in is English, and you're going to need to take 4 years of English for both graduation as well as college admissions. And for college admissions, all of those classes need to be completed with a grade of C or higher. For math, you will need to take 3 years to graduate from high school as well as 3 years for college admissions. Now, where it differs a little bit, for high school graduation, it needs to be 3 years, 30 credits, with the completion of algebra and 2 additional years of math. The difference with college admissions requirement is you must complete at least through Algebra 2 trig. And so that's where it differs a little bit. You do have to go through and complete through Algebra 2. For history, social science, they're actually right in line with college admissions requirements. You need 2 years to graduate from high school and 2 years for college admissions. And so for us, we do a modern civilization or a world history, and we do for college admissions, modern civilization or world history for graduation, as well as US history, and then the same thing for college admissions requirements. For lab science, again, very similar, but this is where you'll want to be a little bit more competitive for colleges. For high school, you need 2 years, 1 year of a biological science, which we're going to talk about registering you for 9th grade, and 1 year of a physical science or chemistry. So 1 year of biology, 1 year of chemistry, and for college admissions, you're going to need 3 years. So really, it's 2 years, but 3 is strongly recommended. So when I say strongly recommended, you need to do 3 years. So you're going to need to do biology, chemistry, and we really recommend physics. And if you want to go into a 4th year, we have a ton of different possible science electives at West Ranch to choose from. So all kinds of things to do there if science is your thing. Now, for graduation, we do require you to do 1 quarter or 2.5 credits of health. Now, health is not a college admissions requirement, so it is just for graduation. That can be done anytime within your 4 years. Great time to do it is freshman year, though, if you want to knock it out. Now, college admissions, you need to complete a foreign language. It's a minimum of 2 years of the same language, but 3 to 4 years is recommended. It really comes down to 3 years. To remember, it's not a graduation requirement. So a lot of people think you have to take Spanish right away, or you have to take French, or you have to take sign language right away. You don't. You have a little time, but it is only 2 to 3 years required. So for graduation requirements and college admission requirements, both of those require you to do a fine arts. That's 1 full year. So we have all kinds of great fine arts to choose from. That could be a year of theater, so drama. That could be your choir class. That could be art. It could be ceramics. We have all kinds of classes to choose from. Now, graduation requirements, electives. So for graduation, it's 72.5 elective requirements. Now, that doesn't mean you have to take 72.5 electives in art. So anytime you go above and beyond in any of the other categories I just mentioned, English, math, history, science, foreign language, all of those pop into the elective category. So that's how it works. And it pretty much breaks down to where you're taking 6 classes per semester throughout high school. And even senior year, some students can drop down to 5 classes, depending on how you are credit-wise. Now, for college admissions, the college prep elective is a little different. They do require 1 additional year of a college prep elective. And what that means is actually similar to our elective requirements, is when you exceed in the category, so you take an additional class that goes beyond the minimum in English, math, history or social science, lab science, or foreign language, or another college prep elective, then that will fall into that category. So I know it seems a little overwhelming, but I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what the requirements are when you start to select your classes. Okay, so what classes do I select? You're asking yourself after I just gave you all kinds of information. So each 9th grader is going to be enrolled in 6 classes. The registration worksheet that we're going to talk about in a little bit and that Mr. Crawford is going to email to you later on tonight, it's going to provide the counselors with options for electives in case we can't accommodate your first choice. So we're actually going to be asking you to give us different choices in all different categories. We're going to have you tell us what your preferred fine art is, what your preferred practical art, what your preferred foreign language might be. And we're going to try to put that all together to make you happy so that you could possibly get one of the elective classes that you initially signed up for. Unfortunately, sometimes our classes fill up, and so we might not always be able to get you your first choice, but we sure work really hard to get you one of those other choices. So when you select your classes, you're going to select 1 class from English, 1 from math, 1 from biology, 1 from PE. Now, PE can also be one of your, it can be a sport, it could be cheer, it could be your band class, but all 9th graders do need to take a PE class. You'll then have an opportunity to pick 2 electives. So that elective can be a fine art, a practical art, it can be your foreign language, or it can be a general elective, all right? So when you're choosing your classes, it's important that you take a look at what some of the requirements are and the recommendations are in order to be successful. We really want you to start the year off strong. And so in order to do that, we want to make sure you get placed in classes that are appropriate for you. And one of the ways to do that also is to keep in the back of your mind how busy you are outside of school. So it's super important that you're able to maintain a healthy and balanced life, because you may be able to do it all. You may have the ability to do it all, but you might not have all the time to do it all. And we don't want you so stressed out that you can't kind of keep all those balls in the air. It's a nice little delicate balance. So for honors English, we recommend that students have primarily earned A's in both English 7 and 8. And so when you're filling out your registration form, you want to remember what your grades are, take a look at your transcript from Infinite Campus and say, do I really fit that? Should I be taking honors English, or should I be taking English 9A, 9B? Math. Now, your math placement, students are going to be placed in the next level of math according to the math placement sequencing chart and district math assessment test. So the sequencing chart, actually, you'll find on our Future for Wildcat page. So you'll be able to take a look at what math you're in right now in 8th grade and be able to place, what your next level of math will be at West Ranch. Now, given our distance learning situation, normally we would have our math assessment test in the spring, but we're going to change things up a little bit. And so we'll have an opportunity for you to take a math assessment test in the fall when we return. And so given that, there might be a few changes here and there. But what the counselors will do is we're going to take a look at your transcript. We're going to take a look at the course you requested, and we'll place you according to that math placement sequencing and try to place you where you need to be. But we will have that catch-all with the district assessment to help us make sure you're in the exact right place you should be. All right. Now, biology, AP, we have a choice between regular biology and AP biology. For AP biology, if you're considering this class, it is incredibly rigorous. So I want you to keep that in mind. So students must have earned primarily A's in Science 7 and 8. And it's highly recommended that 9th graders be concurrently enrolled, meaning also taking honors English and honors algebra or a higher level math, okay? The reason for this is a class that's taught at the college level. So there's going to be a lot of reading and a whole lot of independent study, and there's a fair amount of math in it, believe it or not. So you'll want to make sure that you are all ready for that and you're strong in science. There is a great video on our Future Wildcat page that our AP biology teacher did for you. You can kind of take a look at it and see what kind of information that he's going to cover in the class. So you might want to check that out before you make the decision on that. Another important piece is there may be a summer assignment. So there may be some work you'll have to do over summer for that, but that's to be determined. We'll kind of keep all that information updated on our website as well. Foreign language. Now, foreign language, students must have primarily earned A's in English 7 and 8 in order to be placed into a foreign language. Okay, so remember what I said on the previous slide, that you need at least 2 years of the same foreign language for admissions to go into a four-year school. So if you don't go into a foreign language in 9th grade, don't worry, you still have plenty of time to actually exceed that requirement in 10th, 11th, and 12th. So you'll still be just fine. AP Human Geography. Now remember when I talked about that college prep elective, that's actually what AP Human Geography is. So AP Human Geography doesn't fall into any of those core categories, but it is considered a college prep elective. So it is recommended for students as an introduction to AP level social studies classes. Students must, again, have earned primarily A's in both history and English. There's a lot of reading on your own. If you want a challenge, if you are interested in history and how the world works, it's a great class. Again, if you check out our Future Wildcat page, Mrs. Rojas did a great video that's going to talk about all the things she covers in AP Human Geography. Another thing to mention is also on our Future Wildcat page, we have a link to our course catalog. So if you see any of these classes that you're like, huh, what's that? You can go ahead and look it up on the course catalog, and it'll give you a great description. Now, athletics. I know a lot of you have expressed interest about being part of our athletic program, which is fantastic. How athletics works is we actually initially put all students in PE 9 initially, and then when you have a tryout, the coach provides the counselors with a list of students who made the team. And then at that point, we go ahead and we place you accordingly into the right sport, all right? And honors and advanced placement courses. And I know I said this a little earlier, but I want to make sure that you're aware that it really is important that you know they are super rigorous. We want you to maintain a successful balance between your academics, your extracurricular activities, and other commitments, okay? It's super important. We want you to actually enjoy your friends, enjoy your family. And so students who commit to the honors and AP classes are required to remain in them. And so it's not really easy to be able to switch out if it's just too hard right away. It's kind of hard to switch out. So you want to make sure you're committed from the get-go. Okay. So as Mr. Crawford, as I mentioned, and Mr. Crawford mentioned, we are going to send you a registration worksheet, and it's going to look like this. This is one version of it. We created a downloadable, okay, a fillable PDF for you with drop-down menus. And so all you need to do is download it from either the email or our website, and you're going to select your classes. The key here is making sure you save all of your changes. So once you do so, you can do it from either a laptop or a tablet, or you can even use your phone. If you do use a tablet or your phone, you might need to download a free app called PDF Expert to allow you to manipulate the PDF file and save it in order to send it, okay? Because we need the information. So once you have all of this filled out, you can save it, and then you're going to email it to your counselor. One part I really want to point out is that little part at the end. If you see at the very bottom, it says comments or tidbits you want your counselor to know about you. This is our chance to hear a little something about you. If you're passionate, your dream is to become an actor or an actress, tell us that. Tell us that so that we know we're going to hone right on in on the fact that you want theater arts. If you really enjoy graphic design and that's a career field you want to pursue, put that down there. Or if you just plain want to say, hi, I look forward to meeting you, your counselors are going to love that too. So make sure you fill out every little piece of that, all righty? Again, you're going to save those changes, and then you're going to email it to your counselor. If you have troubles with the fillable or the drop-down menus, don't worry. We're also sending you a copy of just a blank form that you can go ahead and you can write in. Just make sure we can read your writing. That's always helpful. Go ahead and write it in, and you can scan it, and then you can scan it and send that to your counselor. There's also a free app called CamScan. All kinds of great free apps. You just take a picture, you fill it out, take a picture of it, and you email that to your counselor. If you can't figure any of that out, and even that's kind of challenging with sometimes our computers work right, and sometimes there's this little gremlin in there that does something. I don't know what they do, but you never know. If that doesn't work, don't worry. You can still tell your counselors what classes you want. You just email them all of that information. So it's not a problem. We'll take the information in any way, shape, or form. All righty? So try not to stress out about it. These are your West Ranch counselors. So they're all waving to you virtually from behind the scenes right now. But in order to find out who your counselor is, you're going to take a look at the little alpha breakdown in parentheses. So we work with students based on their last name. And so we have this information on our website. We also have a quick version of this video on how to register also on our website. So we have this everywhere. So if you don't get a screenshot now, don't worry. We're also going to send you the slide deck for this will be available on our website too. So there's all kinds of ways for you to reach out to your counselor and send them the registration worksheet. All right. Now, I've come up a lot, which is that Future Wildcat page. We created this page just for you so that you really can access all you need to know about West Ranch. And so there are some fantastic videos that our athletic directors put together, our CTE coordinator put together, our AP teachers, all our performing arts, all kinds of great information. So if you just go ahead and click on our Future Wildcat page, you just go to westranchhighschool.com, you'll see counseling site or counselors, click on the drop down and you'll see Future Wildcat, it'll say incoming ninth graders. Click on that, it'll bring you right here to this fantastic page to watch all of these great videos and to be able to reach out and find out how you get more information, since we're not right there to tell you, unfortunately. You will also find on there a video about West Ranch counseling, an overview. It's actually the video we had intended to show you at open house. So it's all there, ready to go, gives you a few more tips. A lot of them that Mr. Crawford had mentioned, getting involved at West Ranch and maintaining an important balance, as well as an additional little, like I said, quick video guide on how to register for classes. We broke it down, I think it's like 8 minutes, but if you needed to go back and have a refresher, it's there as well. We will also have a copy of this slide deck of this webinar, as well as the registration materials, those counselor addresses, email addresses, and my favorite part, I think, about the entire website are the frequently asked questions. So this is super important. Unfortunately, counselors aren't going to be able to meet with you guys all individually. Every part of us wants to, but as you can imagine, with the distance learning, we're super busy with our 9th through 12th graders right now and helping support them through this whole process. So what we've done is we've created a extensive list of frequently asked questions and their answers. So I can pretty much guarantee if you have a question, the answer is likely there, with the exception of what happens and what dates for school and all of that concerning the coronavirus. That we don't have, but if it has, all kinds of great information as far as classes and connecting and what you need to know about your having a successful future at West Ranch, that information is all right there. So please check it out. We spent a lot of time making that for you, and hopefully you will find it helpful. Now, we are going to open it up. Both Mr. Crawford and myself are going to open it up to general questions. And so if you still have questions, feel free to use that Q&A right there at the top. How we're going to do this is I will scroll through the questions. I'll read the question out loud. If it's counseling related, I will just go ahead and answer it, and everything else gets to go to Mr. Crawford. And from there, hopefully we'll be able to cover everything. We have about an hour with you, but it looks like there's not too many questions yet, but we'll see what we have. I'm going to jump right on in. And let's see. So the first question is, my daughter's involved in competitive gymnastics, and she spends multiple hours a week with the gym after school. Is there any way that she can be PE exempt? Unfortunately, this is actually a great question that comes up quite frequently. And overall, it is my understanding that we do not do PE exempt for outside activities. Correct, Mr. Crawford?
Yes, that is generally the only exemptions are for those that are at a national or international competitive level. They have to reach a certain standing. Like I said, they have to be in the highest of high, like Olympic type levels to be exempt. And those calls are actually made by Mr. LeBaron at the district office. Those are sent in and covered by him, and he's the one that determines whether or not they are. But 99% of them do not qualify. Like I said, we're talking the highest levels. Those are the ones that maybe might get PE exempt.
Perfect. And then our next question is, when do we register for classes? Actually, right now. So as soon as you receive the registration worksheet, which is going out tonight, I believe at 5 o'clock, Mr. Crawford?
Yeah, 5 o'clock tonight. So right about the time we finish our webinar, I have an email going out to all of the parents or all the families the same way you got this message I put it on the email, the 2 forms, and then I put links on it just in case, and with all the information on it. So it'll be sent out at 5 o'clock right at the end of our webinar.
Perfect. And once you get that, fill it out, take a look at it, think about it maybe for a day or so, look at it, and then send it right on into your counselors. We are asking that you complete this form because we want to make sure we're able to get going and build that master schedule by, I believe our date is April 27th?
April 28th.
April 28th, excuse me, April 28th. And so we just need to have all of that information back to us. Fantastic. The next question is, ROTC available for 9th grade? And the answer is yes, absolutely. If you are interested in ROTC, you will put that on your registration worksheet for your counselors, and we can go ahead and register you. I also recommend checking out Valencia High School's website. They have actually the ROTC program is housed on Valencia High School's campus. And so they have all kinds of good information on there that'll help guide you through that as well. But you actually can just register for it right there on that registration worksheet. All right, and then the next question was, when was registration worksheets due? We covered that on April 28th. And Mr. Crawford, will there be camps for sports this summer?
Again, good question. As I mentioned earlier, we do not know, since we do not have control over the coronavirus. We are taking our lead, as we have in everything with this, from the district, who's taking their lead from LA County Department of Public Health, and obviously the governor. And so at this time, if we're doing it right now, obviously we have no sports at all, but we are planning for summer camps. However, we don't have our exact dates, nor are we taking any money for those just yet, as because we don't want to have to plan for things and then have to refund, and no one really wants to have to deal with that. So right now we're planning for them. Coaches and everybody, we're ready to go if we can have them, but we're waiting to see if we're going to get the green light on that.
Awesome. And someone is asking to repeat the information on where to watch the video for the AP Bio. It's actually right on our Future Wildcat page. So go to westranchhighschool.com, click on counselors. You'll see a little drop-down menu, and you'll see information for incoming 9th graders or Future Wildcats. You just click right on there. You can also get to it by going to the counseling site, and on the right-hand side bar, you'll see Future Wildcat. And then the next question for Mr. Crawford, freshman girls soccer tryouts, how do we hear about that?
Well, again, normally we would be doing, we would have our camp, and then you would get information through our camp when the tryouts actually are. But if camps are not able to go, we will make sure that we work together with myself, Mrs. Hinsey, who's my administrator over athletics, and our athletic directors, Mrs. Garcia and Mrs. Conrad, and we'll get all that information out to you. Believe me, if we cannot have our summer camps, we will be getting out all the information to all of our families. So if we don't have summer camps, for some reason you won't miss out on anything. We will make sure then the tryouts and different things move to the regular school year. Perfect. And then the next question, just about when are we sending out registration? Just a reminder that we are sending out registration materials at 5. It is also already live on the Future Wildcat page. So we are all set there.
The next question is about what classes are available for first period. There's actually very few classes available for freshmen for first period. And so just in the way it's designed, there's not many of those classes that are offered period one. So if you do have a sibling who has a first period and you want to try to coordinate transportation, honestly, that might be a challenge. So it might be good to have a conversation with the older sibling now. Maybe they don't take a first period, but it is a challenge for freshmen to take a first period. There just aren't that many classes offered. So sorry about that. And let's see. Another question came in, is our government and econ still required courses? Yes, government and econ are required courses for graduation. And they fall into, as far as things go, they kind of look at, when we were talking about the college admissions requirements, they do fall into the social science and actually college prep electives. They fall in there, but they are required for graduation senior year. And we had talked about, let's see, registration due dates. And the question was about taking, can we take health classes over the summer? Once you start at West Ranch, after your 9th grade year, health is an option to take over the summer, but it is not an option as an incoming 9th grader to take it before 9th grade. And let's see, the next question is Scouts going to be an elective? So I'm assuming the question, if I'm understanding it correctly, is if Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts is an elective. No, that's actually going to be considered an extracurricular activity. So they're great programs that colleges love to see, but since they're not offered by West Ranch, we don't, and there's no curriculum attached to them, we do not provide a grade for them, and therefore they are not an elective. Right? Let's see. Does AP Human Geography count as a biology class? Actually, AP Human Geography counts as a college prep elective, so it's going to pop into the general elective category for graduation and the college prep elective category. And do you have to take biology as a freshman? Yes. It can be either our NGSS biology, which is a full college prep biology, fantastic class, or you can select to take AP biology. All right, and let's see. There's a question about hip hop, Mr. Crawford. My friends have told me that hip hop team is no longer a club, but counts for PE credits. If I want to join, will I still have to do PE?
Well, right now we're kind of in flux with PE as we're trying to keep pace with the requirements by the state for PE classes. So we're really trying to figure out if we're going to be able to offer hip hop as a class. That may not happen. We were able to do it last year and give PE credit. We're looking at what the possibilities are and how many signups we have. But with the changing climate in PE, and the state requires X amount of hours to be done, and so we're having to put more and more students in our regular PE classes for 9th and 10th grade. So if that's the case, we may not be able to have it as a class. But if that was the case, we'd still try to have it as a club, because that club's been awesome over the years, always entertaining at our rallies. So and one more thing you can get involved in. So, but we'll get more information out about that as we go along.
Absolutely. The next question is asking about, looks like fall sports, summer camp, and where to find that information. You can find it on the Future Wildcat page, but for updated details, you'll actually want to go to the athletics page on the West Ranch High School website. So that's when I'm going to give you a few more details as to about those tryouts. But if you watch the video that our athletic directors put up, they'll give you a few more details on how to find out all kinds of good information when it comes to that. All righty. Asking about special electives, you can, when you look at the registration worksheet, you will see all the electives that are available to you as freshmen. It's actually the second page of the worksheet that Mr. Crawford's going to send out tonight. Let's see. Let's see. What if I want to do more than one elective a year, like color guard and cheer, and do I switch each semester? So you would actually have to commit to, they ask you to commit to color guard or cheer. So you usually with the practices, it's kind of hard to do both of those. Color guard or cheer would be considered actually your PE. So it would fall into that category, and you still would have an opportunity for 2 additional electives. But there's quite a bit of commitment between the two, and so you would have to check with the coaches as far as the overlap goes with the practices and whatnot. All righty. If you are involved in a West Ranch sports team, are you graded with a letter or a pass-fail? You are graded with a letter. So it is graded and given credits the same as all of our other classes. And the next question, Mr. Crawford, is how will clubs be handled?
Well, clubs are handled through our ASB program, and clubs are extracurricular as well. So they're not really a class. And but again, we have over 50 clubs on campus, and I'd mentioned that Club Rush Day. So that's an opportunity to look around, find out what clubs are available on campus that might fit your interest, and kind of with some people that you'd like to be with. And so then those clubs run the wide gamut, everything from clubs that almost every high school has, like NHS, National Honor Society, those type of things, all the way to a video game club and things like that. So there's a lot of different variations of the clubs we have on campus, those that are clubs that are for national organizations and service-based, all the way to just clubs to have fun. And so we have the gamut, and those are always run through our Associated Student Body, or ASB.
Perfect. And then it looks like we actually have a couple of questions about math sequencing and which math the student should sign up for. You'll want to take a look at that math sequencing chart located on the West Ranch website, and that will help kind of break it down. Unfortunately, I can't answer all of them over the Q&As right now, because we actually are running a little, we're getting close on time. We have a ton of great questions I want to get to. How does summer school impact the students' requirements or schedule? That actually would be a great question to ask once you get to West Ranch. It's really going to depend on the individual student, what their interests are, which classes they're looking at taking, and students will be able to take summer school classes once they start at West Ranch. There are some enrichment classes, I believe, that might be offered, but they're still working, I think, on the summer school offerings right now. Let's see. There's also a sports question about submitting your physical results. That would be a good question for the athletic directors. I believe it's a pretty hard deadline, though. Do you know of any extension on that, Mr. Crawford?
We might, only because I understand that some are not doing physicals unless it's absolutely necessary for, like, medical things going on. So we are going to be looking at that and adjusting as we need to. I can tell you, if we do have summer camps, part of the deal, we cannot have, because of liability issues, we need to make sure that everyone that participates in a summer camp does have a physical completed.
Perfect. Can I choose AP Computer Science class as a 9th grader? Absolutely. But do know it's a super popular class. And so we do have a lot of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders who want to take it too. So you can absolutely choose it, but that's exactly why we want to make sure that you give us some other alternatives as well. Another student is asking, can we choose our teachers for 9th grade, or do we need to choose what class we want? You actually get to choose the class. Unfortunately, we cannot customize the teacher selection. We have a whole lot of students, and we have some fantastic teachers. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you get to West Ranch. You don't even need to do the teacher selection. All righty. There's a question about the health science pathway, if it's similar to the medical science academy at Valencia High School. And it is not. It's a little bit different. It's a pathway. And so if you take a look at the career pathway website that we have linked also, it can break down the classes and some of the differences there. All right. Is there anything to add on that, Mr. Crawford?
No, that's perfect.
All right. Let's see, there was another math question, and someone is asking if ASB is considered an elective. It is. ASB is actually an elective as well as a practical art. It covers both categories. When applying for classes, is it first come, first serve? Actually, no. What we do is when the counselors get your course requests, we will input those classes, and then it's done in a very equitable way that goes into the computer, and the computer spins it and puts it into the master schedule. Having said that, the master schedule is driven by student requests. And so we really try to make as many classes available to students as possible. But it is important to meet our deadline of the 28th so that we can get all of that information in on time. Okay, that's really what makes the biggest difference in the world. And we have a student who's transferring to West Ranch, and actually he's coming in as a sophomore, so welcome. Are there any classes being offered through COC? And that would be, actually it wouldn't be, COC classes aren't open for students to take until the summer between 10th and 11th grade. I was thinking the opposite. So after 10th grade, absolutely. And so once he gets to West Ranch, it'll be a great opportunity for him to talk to his counselor about that. And I answered about practical arts. Let's see. There is a specific question about a transfer and district communication. So that would be something to continue communicating with the district. Unfortunately, I'm not able to answer that question specifically. Let's see. If we were already registered for orchestra, do we still have to request a different fine art? No, you can go ahead. You'll select orchestra, but you'll also go ahead and select some other fine arts just so that we have an idea of what you might be interested in, because orchestra is one class, and possibly you might end up with 2 fine arts, or it could be a fine art and a practical art. All righty. So questions, a few more questions about auditions. So auditions specifically, you will go ahead and check out the Future Wildcat website. One of the questions is for West Ranch TV. West Ranch TV, you actually have to take video production 1A and 1B before auditioning for West Ranch TV. So once your student takes those classes as a freshman, they can go ahead and audition. Let's see. Are you able to do ROTC and soccer as well? Yes, the student will be very busy doing both, but oftentimes we do have students who are part of sports as well as the ROTC program. Let's see. A question about what time classes start. Our calendar and schedule is right there posted on our website, and that should be able to help you. We do have a fabulous tutorial period that goes that starts in the morning where teachers are in their classrooms to offer extra help to students. But it's overall classes do start fresh and early, 8:30 in the morning. Well, depending on if you have first period. 8:25. Don't say 8:30. All righty. And we have more sports. Let's see. We are new to the district, coming from LAUSD. Are there any documents you need to register? You'll want to contact, if you're new to the district, you'll want to contact our registrar's office to make sure that you're gone through the whole registration process. Is orchestra a visual art? Yes, it is a visual and performing art as well as an elective. It actually pops into both categories. And when do students sign up for clubs? We're going to have that Club Rush Day in September, and that'll be an opportunity for you to sign up for those clubs. Let's see. Trying to make sure that we're getting to any new questions, so bear with me here. Once you submit the form, is there an opportunity to change the classes you picked? Yes, but we do want you to be thoughtful about it. So if you do change your mind after you submit the form, the counselors have created a Google form for you to fill out and let us know what those changes are. So we will make that Google form link available on the Future Wildcat page. So all you need to do is click, you'll write in your name, as well as what classes you would like to change. So we have that all ready for you. But again, you have a week so you can think about it. Let's see. All kinds of questions about sports and tryouts. Let's see. Can we enroll in 7 classes? We really want to make sure all of our students have 6 classes before we start putting you in 7. Freshman year is pretty overwhelming, and 6 classes is a lot. So we want you to really start with 6. Rather than starting and hitting the ground running with 7. I know it seems like no problem. There's all this time in the day, but that's a really long day if you start straight off with 7 classes. So we're going to start you off with 6 before we start hitting that 7 mark. Okay. And Mr. Crawford, again, a question about Ice Station is not saved. Will there be a hockey program? And if so, where will they play?
Well, the hockey program actually over the last year, because it didn't include all students from West Ranch, kind of at one point they still kept our name, but kind of the district had it in a special compensation area. Now that the ice station is closed, if it is not able to reopen, I'm not sure what the status honestly will be of the hockey team. As I said, over the last couple of years, it's been a district-wide program, but run under the name of West Ranch, because ours, quite honestly, was the most well known in the hockey circles with the LA Kings high school hockey organization. But right now we're kind of in limbo right now with no ice station. So not quite sure what's going to happen with that.
Okay. And there's a question about changing your email address so you're not getting your emails. That would actually be a question. If you are part of one of our junior highs in district, you'll want to just contact your counselor there, and so they'll get that changed within Infinite Campus is likely the issue. If it's out of district, that would need to go through our registrar's office. And just going through, looks like we've answered quite a few of these questions. Will freshman students be able to pick up books for AP summer assignments? If so, what are the dates? We don't know yet. Mr. Crawford?
Yeah, we may just have to run without AP summer assignments, especially for the freshman classes, which would be AP Bio and AP Human Geography. I'm going to be talking with those teachers to talk about that. Just maybe this year, we may just have to sit out this year with the summer assignments. But I'm going to talk with them because it's just the logistics to get everybody through and get books and different things maybe just too difficult right now, especially if we're still under social distancing. So in any case, stay tuned as we go through that. We'll make sure we get word out to all those students that are registered in those classes.
Perfect. Let's see. Once again, COC questions. Students don't qualify to take classes at COC until after their 10th grade year. And again, our course schedules are available online, and as well as all the sports. As tryouts become handy, or tryout times show up, we will post them on, it'll likely be on the athletics page, but we'll also do our best to keep that part updated on the Future Wildcat page. And so a question about marching band. Since marching band is a one semester class and counts as PE, would I need to take a PE class second semester? And the answer is yes. So if you're a marching band in the fall, you will be taking PE in the spring. So you will be in a physical activity all year long. All right. And some of these questions might be a little bit more specific to coaches, as far as if you can do multiple sports at the same time.
Yeah, obviously depending on the sport and the season, making sure they're not in the same season. But we do have students that do play multiple sports, and our coaches are usually very good about, sharing athletes and communicating. The biggest part will be actually communication by the athlete, by the student athlete themselves, to make sure that when one season's going, that those practices and those things become a priority. And then when the other season opens up, it reverses. So, but again, big part of that is communication by the student athlete, but it can be done. We have a lot of students that do it.
Fantastic. And if I qualify, can I take music theory as a freshman? I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend jumping in as a freshman. That would be a question, actually, once we start in the fall, would be a good question for Mr. Leff, our music theory teacher. But we usually like to have really juniors or seniors take the music theory class. All righty, and I'm gonna just take a couple more questions because I think we are running low on time. Let's see. And so there's a question about ASB, and I've seen a couple about yearbook popping up. All of that information actually is right on our Future Wildcat website. So we have links to listen to their videos, and then also their specific websites are on there, and they can go ahead and answer those questions so that we can kind of hit as many as possible. All right, I think from what it looks like, a lot of these we have already answered, Mr. Crawford.
All right, and again, with I know you mentioned a lot of sports questions. Unfortunately, normally during this time we have answers with the dates of the summer camps and all of those things, and you're going to meet the coaches themselves and signing up. But at this point, we're, as we all are with all of these activities and different things right now, we're kind of a wait and see approach. But But just keep in mind, we want you to be involved in these things. We don't, we want as many as possible to be involved. So we will be getting out messages as soon as we have answers to when we can start having summer camps and those things. We will get information out to all of our families as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Well, we want to thank you guys all so much. We got to as many of the questions as absolutely possible. All of these questions, as I'm scrolling through, if we didn't answer them today, the answers are right there on that Future Wildcat page. I look forward to meeting you. I know all the counselors look forward to meeting you, and thank you very much.
All right. And just again, thank you guys. We can't wait to meet all of you, the class of 2024, our future Wildcats. We look forward to having you on campus when we can all come back. And believe me, I speak for all of our staff and students. We can't wait for that day. So thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Thank you. Bye.